Viewers, welcome to another episode of The Legends. Today we are all the way in Chuka, Tharaka Nithi County, at the home of none other than Rev Dr. Patrick Mungiriria, retired minister, who has graciously welcomed us into his home. So thank you so much, Rev Dr. Mungiriria, for coming into this program. So now let's go back to your early stages in your life as a minister. How did you get into the ministry, and what prompted you to go for the ministry?
Thank you, Dr. Karimi. That can be a complex question because I got inspiration from when I was young. I went to Sunday school before I went to school.
Okay.
Because I went to school when I was a little bit older. And in Sunday school, we were taught by mostly standard 8 pupils in the 60s. And from there, I saw my first church minister when I think I was in grade 4. And I taxed the then headmaster, who is he? And he told me he's a minister. I had not seen a minister before. I had not seen a church minister before. I'd never seen somebody being baptized before. And that continued to reign my mind. But when I became of age, still in the church, I started teaching Sunday school. And then I met another second minister. I think that's the one who inspired me most. Reverend Waroiro. The late Reverend Waroiro? Yeah, Waroiro. And he engaged me. We talked. I think I was in grade 7 then. It was him whom I think I admired what he was doing. And it was from there I think I got my inspiration until time came for me to go to the ministry.
So did you go or join the ordained ministry soon after high school, or you went for another career before you joined the ministry?
I had a little lapse after high school.
Yes.
About 3 years or so. I worked a little. I don't want to call it on contract, but I was engaged in registration of persons in Mombasa. And when I was there, it is when it was announced in the church, St. Margaret, that there is, the church is asking for those with a call for the ministry. It was then I went to the minister, and the minister advised me accordingly. Okay.
Then you applied and you went through the interviews.
And then I applied, I went through the interview. I think I was a little bit young, because the first one I was told I was not of age. I think I was 23 or so.
Okay.
Through those strenuous interviews, then I was enrolled in 1977.
Okay.
Yeah, at St. Paul's.
No, that is good. You have been in different parishes and different settings, and I know you were ordained in our parish those many years ago when I was a young man in the youth. Soon after that, you have served several stations, and especially in Nairobi. I would want you to let us know about your experience in the ministry in different settings before we can come to your position as a former DSG.
I was ordained at PCA Teto, the then Nyeri Presbytery, on the slopes of Nyandarua Hills in 1981, early 81, I think it must have been February. And I served there for a very short time. After ordination, I was posted to Teto because we subdivided. But then after serving for 1 year after ordination, the church did not have somebody to take to St. Paul's that time. I had applied for scholarship. So the aptly came for me. Dr. Kimani, I think he was the secretary to the training.
Okay.
Dr. Kimani came for me. In fact, I went to college late. And after I finished, I was posted to Mombasa PCs in Margaret and Pwani Presbytery. And there also I did not work for long. After 2 years, I was appointed Deputy Secretary General.
Yes. And then after that, you served several parishes in Nairobi.
After I was appointed Deputy Secretary General, my term got finished. I got a scholarship to go to US. After I came back, I was posted to Dagoretti, PCA in Dagoretti parish. After how many months? 4 or so. I was posted to Bahati, PCA in Bahati. I served there for 7 years. And then I was posted to St. Andrews. I served for 7 years. After St. Andrews, I was posted to Lerota, where I returned. I served for 6 years.
Wow. So you were basically not one that was being affected by the 5-year rule, which is being practiced.
No, I thank God I was not harassed.
Which was a good thing. Now, you mentioned about being at DSG. You are the Deputy Secretary General of the PCA, and I remember quite well when we were celebrating the Centennial celebrations, which was a turning point in the life of the ministry of the PCA. Could you share with us your experience as a DSG at a time that you were preparing for the Centennial celebrations and the process that we went through during the celebrations, and what Centennial celebrations meant for this church?
The preparations for Centennial celebrations started earlier than you saw it.
Yes.
Because the business committee started preparing for it 2 years before. And we went around taking videos in various setups, more so from Kibwezi, and we prepared the minds of the members. The entire church was prepared for the celebrations. After which we engaged the ministers, the elders, the churching groups, and we also, and as technician, and I think many people don't know this, we got an editor, video editor from US. He stayed with us all the way until the celebration. He stayed with us for a year. He went to Kibwezi, went to Thogoto, after which he actually left. You can look at that video and see it is very well entertained. The hand office and to coordinate the presbyteries, especially for carrying the torch. That was more so in the office of the Deputy Secretary General, and worked closely with the youth department.
Yes.
Jero, Mr. Njero, Mr. Madai, the late Madai, and we had to report every moment in the business committee.
Yes, I was in the Central Youth Committee, so I know what was going on at that
Sure.
time. Now, I remember you were in the office as a DSG, again preparing for the Centennial celebrations for about 2 years. But then there was a transition in the office of the moderator and the office of the Secretary General. So you were the one who remained in office to ensure the continuity of the process.
Yes.
How did the transition go from one administration, the administration of the previous moderator and the incoming moderator?
And I think I was the first DSG to be in that transition.
Okay.
Because the 4-year term was decided in 1985
Okay.
or 82 thereabout, and the transition may have been I think it wasn't hand
Okay.
because the incoming moderator was the former Secretary General,
Yes.
and the incoming Secretary General was a very experienced minister in the church. So it wasn't difficult to, the transition was not actually difficult. In any case, there were a big boost to the Centennial celebrations, especially the moderator, the late Right Reverend, Very Reverend Muindi.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So, what do you think, in your own assessment, and having been in the thick of things that moment, let us know what the impact of the Centennial celebration was to the church, and especially to the mission of the church.
I think it had a very big impact, such that it was a preparation from Sunday school. It was a big impact in that the church was celebrating 100 years, not taking the work of the church from missionaries. The missionaries had already left, they had already gone. And so the celebration was a milestone. A milestone in that the church was remembering the history of the first seed of the gospel, that seed had grown for 100 years. And we decided that what we were going to take as a sign was to carry the torch from where the gospel was planted to all the parishes congregations in the church. That the torch now was to continue. The light of the gospel had to continue. Not anymore from the missionaries, but from the, I don't want to call it indigenous, but from the membership of the church, the new generation of the church. Yeah.
And the torch was quite symbolic at that particular moment in time. We now delve into the program, into the issue of retirement of ministers, and you happen to be one of the regents, having served this church and retired honorably. So please let us know your experience in the process of preparing yourself for retirement.
I can't boast of preparing myself for retirement, but I knew I had to retire.
Yes.
And what I prepared in my mind, that I must be myself.
Yes.
I must not detach the Mungiriria on the pulpit to the Mungiriria in the rural or outside the pulpit. If I'm to wake up to bathe it and go to work at a certain hour, I decided in my mind that's what I'll be doing.
Even in retirement.
Even in retirement. And I come to realize that is what many of us detach themselves. Detaching ourselves from what we are used to doing. And then being another Mungiriria. I decided against that because I had seen it, and I opted. This is going to be me, and me is me. Mungiriria is going to be the Mungiriria who was ordained 40 years ago, and I may not be having that kind of stamina and the strength, but then I decided I'll be myself. I'll be myself, not myself in another setting. And if I'm in that other setting, I'm not going to be a chameleon.
I know.
A chameleon who goes to the green and becomes in green. And decided to be the Mungiriria who is known. That is me. That is Mungiriria that you knew those old days.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I came to learn of a minister who, after retirement, one time woke up on a Sunday morning and carried his briefcase heading to church, and the wife had to tell him, "No, you're not going to do anything. You are retired." Meaning that he was not psychologically prepared for retirement.
Exactly.
What do you think about the process of preparing for retirement? And how did you said you were going to be Mungiriria, the Mungiriria that was always active. How did you prepare yourself for that?
It was a process.
Okay.
And actually that process did not take 1 day, 2 days. By the way, preparing for retirement, much as it is a process, you must prepare something tangible. Where are you going?
Okay.
And what will you be doing? So what I prepared myself, and I found it very difficult, is when I go to church, can you allow me to be in the pews? Allow me to sit with the congregation. That, for some times, became a hassle to me. Because I did not want to, everywhere I go to church, especially in the rural. Oh, can you preach? Please preach for us. Please don't sit there, come and sit here. I fought that one for a while, and I won the battle. Dr. Karemi, if you find me in the church, I am in the pews.
Okay.
My wife and I, we sit in the pews. When I go to Chuka church, I sit in the pews. When I go to a local church here, Kambandi, I sit in the pews. I had to go to the vestry and tell them, please, I've been preaching for these years. Can you allow me to sit in the congregation, in the pews, and feel what these people feel, and I've been feeling when preaching to them? I want to hear the word from the pews, not from the altar.
Okay. And you're still a member of Milimani South Presbytery?
Yes.
Though you are settled in Chuka?
Yes.
Are you actively engaged in the life of the presbytery? Or do you attend presbytery regularly?
I attend the presbyteries very religiously.
Okay.
Presbytery meetings very religiously. Presbytery functions very religiously. I do. And then the parish in which I'm attached, I preach once in a while.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it regular?
No.
Oh, okay.
It's not regular, and I wouldn't want it to be regular.
Okay.
I don't attend the session, and I obtain not to, for my own reasons.
Yes.
I let the minister continue and then do the moderate the sessions.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, you served in Nairobi.
Yes.
For the greater part of your ministry, Bahati, St. Andrews, Liruta, key parishes, and now you moved, in your retirement, you moved to Chuka. How did you manage to adjust from that setting to the rural setting?
By the way, that's a good question. Karimi, I've never, throughout my ministry, even when I served at the head office, I've never finished a month without coming here.
Okay.
So I did not detach myself
from the rural community.
From the rural. And every holiday, every time I've got leave, I'll carry my entire family here until the leave is over.
Okay.
From since I was in Mombasa, we used to come for holidays here. So one thing that I don't find anything unusual is I did not detach myself from
the community,
from the village.
Okay.
I know the neighborhood.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you have never found any challenge in terms of communal integration, involving yourself in the various affairs of the community. You have always been at home in the local community.
Thank you. I have always been at home.
Yes.
I have always been with my people. Do you remember this lady who welcomed Elijah?
Yes, in the Bible.
In the Bible, in her home. And Elijah wanted to go and speak for her to the king. And the lady said, look, I don't need anything. I am with my people. I'm comfortable with my people. And I'm comfortable with what I have.
Yes.
That is me.
But the local community still, whenever you attend functions in the community and meetings in the community, they will still regard you as a minister.
Indeed.
Yes.
They regard me as a minister.
Yeah.
They will give me that respect that a minister is due. Especially when I go for the funerals. Because those are some of the meetings that you go to. Maybe a few alambes for the occasion. Yeah.
So you are a minister in very busy parishes in Nairobi, and day and night.
Yes.
And I'm imagining now, Reverend Dr. Mungiriria waking up on a Monday morning, Tuesday morning, Wednesday morning, Thursday morning, not not waking up to go to the office or to a wedding ceremony or a session meeting. What do you do in retirement on a daily basis?
By the way, that's why I did not retire in Nairobi. That's why I opted not to stay in Nairobi. My children are there. Because I knew if I retired in Nairobi and they stayed in Nairobi, I'll be waking up to look at the buildings, the cars. I opted to retire in the rural because I wake up, I'll take my breakfast, then I can go around in my farm. I have a few other farms I can go around and walk around, look at my few chickens and goats, and I want to be in this kind of habitat.
Yes.
Yeah.
So in essence, you are very busy in the farm.
Very busy organizing. I don't take Anjembe to go and dig.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Can you mention something about your expectation in terms of the relationship between the retired ministers and the active ministers? There are some parishes whereby the active ministers feel uncomfortable working hard in hard or engaging the retired ministers, while at the same time there are some retired ministers who have not made life very easy for the active ministers where they are. Can you take a moment and address that particular issue and how it should go?
Dr. Karimi, when we talk of a minister, who are we talking about? We're talking about somebody, a man or a woman, with a divine calling. And then this divine calling, you are called not to deliver your wounds.
Yes.
You are called not to work in your farm. He who called you has given you a role. And then there comes a time when that role has ended. The call is there. The calling is there. But we're not in the active calling. Somebody else is there. And he is propagating what you left. So if there is any kind of uncomfortability between the retired and the active, I see some unbecoming discrepancies. And because you are called not by this person, not by anybody, can you stick to the call? Once you stick to the calling, whether you are retired or active, then there is not going to be a tug of war unless somebody somewhere the calling network has been cut off.
Okay.
I would find no problem. I hear those stories, and I would not want to accommodate them in my thoughts, in my retirement setup. Because once you hear those kind of stories, either somebody somewhere was not called, two, somebody somewhere does not know you get to that person who is retired is. Three, this retired person is forgetting he was also where this young minister is. Those three.
Okay. Now, you have been a senior minister in the PCA Church, going up to the level of becoming a Deputy Secretary General. Take a minute as we come to the close of this program and give a word of advice to us. Face the camera and tell the young ministers and the active ministers a word of advice coming from a senior minister, Rev Dr. Mungiriria.
The word of advice to you ministers there, some were ordained last month, others were ordained some years ago. There is one thing I want to tell you. When you went to the presbytery and you told them you want to go to the ministry, the presbytery asked you, why do you want to go to the ministry? And your answer was, and everybody's answer was, because I am called. My fellow young ministers, stick to the calling, and the work will be very easy, because he who called you is faithful, and you see you through, and you protect you, and you provide unto you.
Thank you so much, Rev Dr. Mungiriria, for creating the time. I know you are a very busy man, and you afforded us the few minutes to discuss issues that are very important to us in the ministry, and taking your time and giving us that opportunity and that word of advice. May the Lord bless you. We wish you well in your retirement.
Thank you.
And continue supporting us, praying for us, and giving us words of counsel.
Thank
so
you.
may the Lord bless you and be with you.
Thank you.
Give you more and more days
Thank
to
you,
give us
Dr.
counsel. God bless you.
God bless you.
So viewers, thank you for listening. See you in the next episode of The Legends. God bless you.